I want to ask you this. Should children and the public be encouraged to write Valentine's Day cards to illegal migrants? At an East Sussex County Council meeting this week, Green Party Councillor Anne Cross proudly announced that she supervised her own grandchildren to paint Valentine's Day cards for the adult men housed at the Crowborough migrant camp. She encouraged others to share the love.
My grandchildren and I painted some Valentine cards at the weekend, which we are going to be presenting to the men in the camp at Crowborough as a welcome. And I urge us all across the county as representatives, as members of our local community, to stand with all those who want to share the love.
Share the love. Let's be clear about something. These are single males who have crossed the channel illegally, some of whom are from cultures where there is no legal age that a man can marry a child. And yet, some people think that encouraging children to send them Valentine's Day cards is a good idea. This type of behaviour isn't new, though, is it? Last year, some school children were encouraged to write cards to illegal migrants with words like, "You are welcome here." Those cards were often displayed in classrooms, and some were even sent to groups supporting illegal migrants, albeit anonymised. Well, why don't I just state the blindingly obvious and tell you why, in my opinion, this is an insane and dangerous idea. Telling a child to write a Valentine's card for a random adult man, especially a stranger, especially a foreigner, is flat out insanity. I think it trains children to lower their guard around the exact kind of people every school, every safety programme and every parent screams to never approach or engage with. It's what you're taught as a kid. It's 101, isn't it? Now, of course, not every illegal migrant is dangerous, but recent headlines should be enough of a warning. An Afghan asylum seeker who arrived by small boat in March 2025 was just found guilty of abducting and raping a 12-year-old girl in Nuneaton, multiple counts of rape, sexual assault, and even filmed the attack. This isn't just about children, is it? It's about the safety of women too. Writing Valentine's Day cards to these men might be interpreted as some form of consent or even an invitation. You can imagine the court transcript now, can't you? Your Honour, my client received a Valentine's Day card from a 12-year-old girl, so he saw that was a form of invitation. It is complete insanity that anyone, anywhere, would think that sending cards like this should be encouraged by anybody, let alone tolerated. Joining me this evening to talk about this story is Reform UK Councillor Jamie McIver and journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth. Jamie, I'll start with you. I just can't get my head around why anyone thinks this is a good idea. And as I said, not all illegal migrants are dangerous, we know that. But there's enough headlines that should make people think twice about there being any excuse or any, form of invitation, as I put it, that might be used in court against the country. It's one many of them don't understand the laws of our land.
Well, I think that councillor should be absolutely ashamed of herself. I think those are outrageous comments. I think it's actually encouraging people to go near somewhere which could be very dangerous, which we know has been very dangerous. But it's all very well, isn't it, if it's not your granddaughter being sexually assaulted or raped, that's fine, isn't it? As long as it's not your grandchildren. This is, I think, a reckless thing for someone in elected office. As a councillor, I would never dream of saying something like that in the council chamber. And I think it's designed, Alex, this is what saddens me the most, it's designed to have an effect. These people know that what they're saying is wrong. They choose to do it because they like the uproar. They want to call everybody divisive. They want this debate to be happening because they think it advances their causes. In Crowborough, people are genuinely concerned for the safety of women and girls in particular. They are protesting peacefully, and I know what that's like being from Epping. And I think it is outrageous that a councillor thinks that is in any way suitable. And by the way, councillors on a council like East Sussex, like her, are responsible for safeguarding. Councillors are corporate parents to children in care. What a reckless thing to say when you have such significant office to uphold.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living. And maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Yeah, Benjamin, it can set a dangerous precedent in the sense that if something happens and there was a Valentine's Day card sent, would there be some sort of feeling of guilt? If I would feel guilty if I'd sent a Valentine's Day card to somebody and then it ended up that being used against me potentially.
No, I mean, I'm slightly jealous they're getting more Valentine's Day cards than I am.
Only you would be jealous of this type of programme, Benjamin.
But look, I mean, I think you need to question your moral compass, because
Really?
Christian values says you should love thy neighbour, and that is what this woman is doing. It's obviously not a romantic gesture. It is a showing affection and consideration to people that have fled from appalling circumstances, who are living in tumult by being in a hotel in that situation, and she's extending a hand of friendship. I think that is a very healthy way to raise your child, that you should be considerate and compassionate to other people's lives.
I was at, I think these might be images of a migrant protest. I was actually in Crowborough just a few weeks ago. This is Crowborough here, actually, just to confirm that. I recognise that pub on the corner there. And people are furious. People there are furious. And there were people from all walks of life, middle class, upper class, lower class, children, adults. One of the children there told me that her way of life is going to be destroyed because she won't be able to, she's worried about her friends walking home through the woods and things like that. And I just feel like I can sympathise with your perspective, Benjamin, but I don't think it's actually morally right for anyone to be encouraging this kind of behaviour, given that we do know that men from specific backgrounds have a disproportionately more likely to commit crimes like this. I just feel like it's a bad idea.
Well, first of all, love thy neighbour is a wonderful thing at the heart of Christian ethos, but there is a very big difference between love thy neighbour and be kind to others, and then use something like Valentine's Day, which is a romantic, often quite sexualised occasion for grown-ups.
Come on, my grandmother would give me a Valentine's Day card. I think it's just affection.
Encouraging children to do that, knowing that, and I will have to pull you up, the idea that these people are, fleeing devastation, are desperate people. No, a lot of these people are economic migrants that have paid thousands and thousands of pounds to smugglers to enter the United Kingdom. They have broken the law illegally. They are criminals and should be treated as such. You do not encourage your grandchildren to write Valentine's Day cards to criminals. But more importantly, the point Alex makes, people are so sick and tired of this. I know from the Epping protest, people that have never protested before in their life, not like the wokey-pokey lefty people that go to every single Palestine march possible. This is people that have never, ever protested before, and they are concerned for the safety of their children and grandchildren. And it's an insult that an elected representative would give such a disregard to the obvious safety issues. And we know from the statistics that many of these men are going on to commit some of the most awful crimes.
Well, look, first of all, the question of whether and where these people should be housed is separate to showing compassion to the individuals that find themselves there. And I think there is a rank hypocrisy from right-wingers like you who say that you should get these people to integrate, that they should learn about British values, that they should become part of the community if they wish to live here. And yet when someone reaches out to do that in a considerate, compassionate way, you say that that is a bad thing. I think this is a perfectly healthy way to behave, and it is trying to encourage the connections and the relationships.
What planet are you living on, Benjamin? What planet are you living on? Integration is one thing. Yes, assimilation is one thing. But councillors, members of the public, children writing heart-shaped, potentially, I'm not saying they have been, but if there's alleged heart-shaped cards or Valentine's Day, or I don't want to say something and get myself into trouble in case they are written in the context of that video of Valentine's Day, right? That was the video we're talking about. This Green Party councillor has said she's doing that and she's encouraging her grandchildren to do it, right? So I'm going off that evidence, OK? That, to me, is incentivising someone to go. And if people who can't read English, some of these people, by the way, they can't read English.
Well, isn't that a good thing, then? This is a way for them to learn the language.
Benjamin, you can send someone a written letter, like we used to, you know, back in the day we used to write pen pals abroad, things like that. You can do that for kids your age. I don't think encouraging children who we teach from a young age to avoid strangers on the streets, writing them cards that might be love hearts on them in letters that they could misconstrue as potentially affectionate.
I mean, I imagine, of course, we haven't seen what's been written in these, but I imagine it's a sort of welcome to the community, a reach of friendship.
But why are they Valentine's Day, Benjamin? Why do it on a day of love, a day of showing affection?
Because love comes in all sorts of forms, and showing love to these people will probably have a healthier outcome than making them feel threatened and isolated.
If we're going to be showing love to anybody, it should be veterans, it should be British people that are really struggling at the moment just to put food on the table. If we're going to show love to anybody, it should, the least type of people we should be trying to show love and affection to are people who have entered the country illegally, many of whom are statistically proven to go on to commit horrific offences against our women and girls. The last place a councillor should be encouraging young children to go and deliver Valentine's Day cards is an illegal migrant hotel.
Oh, you want me to respond? Sorry?
Go ahead. Go.
Well, look, I think that this is a compassionate way to behave. And also, what I really dislike about this is the way in which you try to dehumanise these people. It may be the case, of course, it would be irrational to say not, that some of these people are motivated by economic means. But they've also been through a horrendous ordeal coming across the channel.
How do you know that?
We know that 80% of them are accepted, they get refugee status, and so that says that they have a legitimate claim to be here. They've mainly come from countries like Libya, Sudan, Afghanistan, places that I've been to and are war-torn. And I think that, you know, to dehumanise these people is a dangerous route for us to go down. It is not the way you should be educating young people. I think this woman is being, I don't know whether she's a mother or a grandmother, I think she's a grandmother. I think raising her family in this way so that her kids show compassion to those that are fleeing hard times is a decent way to behave, a compassionate way to behave.
What are the hard times in France?
And I think, of course, they haven't come from France. They've come from places like
Sudan
and Afghanistan.
They have come from Europe.
No, they've gone through France. That's not where they've come from. And she is raising her family to care about people that have a worse life.
They have left the shores of France and they have come to the shores of Britain. Origin of destination.
And we know that
France.
8 out of 10 of them, if not more of them from countries like Sudan, will get refugee status and therefore they will be legal. And so is it not better to try and integrate them to the community?
Well, I'll put this to you first, Jamie. Christine here on your say says integration when they are legal, detention until they are illegal or deported. Do we need to integrate people that we should be deporting?
No, people that are being deported need to just be arrested, detained and deported. That's it. We don't want them here. They're illegal. They're breaking into the country. They are breaking the law. They are cheating the system. We do have a process whereby people can claim asylum. And those people that are successful, of course we should integrate them. Some of them will go on to do nice things for our country. But the country is full. And
how does someone come here legally from a place like Sudan? Because they're never going to get a visa to be able to board the flight. So how do they get here to claim
asylum in the first safe country they get to? That's what they should be doing. They should not be coming to Britain.
But they would also be illegal in those countries because they've probably got a boat from Africa to Italy or to Spain.
That's not our problem.
I still can't wrap my head around why any adult man needs a Valentine's Day card
from a child.
From a child or from anybody. Quite frankly, you know, Jamie, I think a lot of grown men don't really care about Valentine's Day. So this is, to me, an overtly political way of taking Valentine's Day, which is about love and showing affection to people close to you, or about surprising. So, you know, when you're at school, people would write, oh, you know, I fancy you, and it would be an anonymous card. That's what it was really all about, wasn't it? Yeah, sorry if you didn't, Benjamin, no offence. Of course, I hope none taken. But that's the point of Valentine's Day. It's a school kid's idea of sending an anonymous note to somebody going, oh, I love you. It's like a secret crush. That's when I think about Valentine's Day, that's a lot of the way I interpret this. That, in this situation, encouraging children to do that for adult men is wrong in any circumstances, isn't it? Even if they're white British men, it's weird and wrong.
Well, I think the truth is that there are lots of people that share Valentine's notes in an unromantic way. For example, it's not so unusual that a family member might send them to their...
No family members ever sent me a Valentine's Day card. I'll tell you what, I sent it.
Family members love one another.
But it's
not in that way, Jamie.
I don't know what they do in Epping, but it's a form of love and compassion. And I think, I'm sure there is nothing sexual or romantic about the intention of this councillor. It's about sharing that attitude.
I get that,
and I think that's
what Valentine's Day is all about. It's all about, love and sharing that moment with someone you love. And I just think this is all a bit weird, Jamie.
It's worse than weird. I think it's worrying. I think it's scary that this councillor is responsible for safeguarding as a corporate parent to many children in the Sussex area. I think it's a terrible misjudgment at best. I think at worst it's actually a very concerning safeguarding issue, actually.
OK, well, listen, the Green Party councillor told GB News this. Making cards to welcome people seeking asylum is a common activity for local people, school children and refugee charities. There is no evidence that children or women are at higher risk from people seeking asylum than other sections of our society. All right, well, coming up, the